Hi, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. Have you ever read Atlas Shrugged? Do you know what Going Galt means? Well, I was going to make a different video today, another one directed at the problems of the day, what to do about it, but I think this one is far more important. It does have to do with what to do about the problems today, and I want to get to it. Excuse me if I'm squinting at you here. I went to the eye doctor this morning, and that kind of is what led me into this. They dilated my eyes to check and make sure that I could still see like an eagle. And I got to talking to the doctor. He's a sharp guy. I love him. He's from out in western Kansas, but he's one of these guys that just was driven by his curiosity, and he's into everything in the world. We got to talking about the state of the world, as I do with everyone I run into, and he brought up John Galt. Well, that opened the door for me because I love running into people who have done that. He's actually read the book twice, which is unusual. I've read it several times, but it's the book, if you're not familiar with it, it's the book that is called the book that millions have started and hundreds have finished. I bet a few of you have read it, and maybe more than a few of you. I just put up over on the Patreon site. I'm going to be talking about here in a minute about Going Galt. I'm going to be talking about a time that I did it, and I'm going to talk about how I'm about to do it again, and maybe how that could give you some ideas as well. I just put up over on the Patreon site a couple of recordings of John Galt's speech. It's maybe the most famous speech. Well, I won't say that because most people don't know about it. It's the most astounding speech. I'll put it that way. In modern literature, it speaks to the world as it is happening today. It was the book from which it comes, Atlas Shrugged, is my second favorite book, next to the Bible, or after the Bible. And if I put up over there on Patreon both the short version, 4 minutes long about, and the complete version, which is over 3 hours long. I'd suggest you watch it. You can find them on your own on YouTube. Go ahead and do that if you don't want to pay $1. But I'd like to invite you all who are serious to come over and join us on Patreon. You'll see that the depth of the conversation, the what we get into there is much deeper than what you see here on YouTube. I'd love to have more of the quality people over there, and that's what we're talking about, quality. I think everybody here on this YouTube channel is high quality, except for those three that always give me a thumbs down. For some reason, some people hate me. That's okay. A man can be judged, and a woman, better by the people who hate him than by the people who like him. I think I made that up because I've been saying it for 40 years. But anyway, something dropped into my coffee there. I don't know. Excuse me for just a minute. Going Galt. What does it mean? It means separating yourself and your contributions from a system, a world system, a national system, a government system, or whatever system. Could be a corporate system, but the real Galt is from the world system. Separating yourself from a system that does not hold in esteem the proper values, and thereby withholding from that system the benefit of your contributions. Okay, that means quit feeding the beast and take yourself out of its influence. Reduce its influence over you. Can that be done? Yes, it can be done. Is it easy to do? Easier for some than for others. The first time that and I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, and then I'm going to suggest that you do it. I'm going to love to hear your comments down there. I first did it started in about 1992 when Bill Clinton was elected. I saw the way that the country was going. There had been a little bit of hope under Ronald Reagan. There had been less hope under George Bush. And when I saw it going to Clinton, I recognized the whole shooting match was going down. There was no way that I wanted to contribute at all to that system. I was lucky in that I owned my own business and that I could adjust that business to the extent pretty much that I wanted to. I was single, which made it a lot easier. No kids. It was just me that I had to worry about. And so I ran my business, and I held it down to a point to where it was just providing for my absolute needs. I didn't try to get rich. I didn't try to make any extra money. I wanted to keep it right at that point to where I was only making what I needed for bare subsistence, paying almost nothing into the system, because I refused to support that system. It was not difficult, to be honest. It wasn't difficult, and it actually added to the quality of my life. Now, I didn't go out to a bunch of fancy restaurants, and I didn't drive new cars, and I didn't do a lot of things that I had done in a previous life. But what I found was by reducing my involvement with that crazy world, my quality of life just skyrocketed. I found myself concentrating on the right things. Okay. There's a saying, it's my brother's favorite saying, and I'll see if I get this right. It's from Seneca. He says, in order to make a man truly happy, don't add to his possessions, rather subtract from the sums of his desires. I talked a little bit about desires in my sermon the other day on the other channel, Stonemont Church. But that's really true. Our desires are what drives us, not our needs. Our needs are easily satisfied, to be honest. It's just our desires, our wants, are what drives us and what makes us the slave to the system that provides for our being able to have those things we desire. Now, can we do this in a way that again elevates the quality of our life while still maintaining a financial standard that's necessary to raise a family or to further develop? And I maintain that it is, because that's what I'm starting to do. In a couple of weeks, I'll be leaving my corporate job. Okay, I've been there for quite a while, over 12 years. If you watched a couple of my other ones, you heard me talk about this. Been over there almost 13 years. It has been good. It has been very lucrative. It was a safe place to be for a while. But I've now seen the world taking a turn that I don't like. I mean, it's been taking that turn. It's not new. I've talked about this. You all have seen it. But it's finally gotten to the point to where I refuse to contribute to it in any way beyond the absolute necessities. So that's one of the reasons that I've decided, and I could stay. There are things that I could do to stay, but I won't. One of the reasons is, and it simply brought this about, is that they are requiring the shot. Not only have I done a lot of research on that, and I've determined that it's not for me. Let others do what they want, because freedom, right? But the requirement on this implies an ownership of the employees, okay, which I fundamentally disagree with. Now, some employees, the danger is that you have put yourself in a position to where You are owned to where that you can't deal outside of it. That's a shame. But I fundamentally disagree with this, which is why I fundamentally disagree with any uh, uh, required national service or any kind of national draft. I don't agree with that at all, um, because it implies an ownership of the individual by the state. Now, other people may disagree. Um, that's fine because guess what? America, right? Freedom. Others have their opinion. That is mine. I have never felt that the state, the country, or anyone else except God had any ownership position in me, and therefore I won't act as if they do. So I will be separating myself from the system here in a couple of weeks, out as will Kelly. Now, what do we do? Where are we going from there? One of the lessons of Atlas Shrugged, and I think everybody should read it. Don't be, it's 1,000 and some pages of very small print and very deep thought. I tell people that it took me a year to read because sometimes I'd sit down or I'd read before I went to sleep at night, and I said, okay, I'm going to read for an hour. But I would read a single paragraph, and there was so much in there to think about. I'd set the book aside and spend an hour thinking about it. It's not something you want to rush through. It's a life experience. It's not a book. Uh, And so I recommend that everyone buy a copy and read it. It doesn't matter how long it takes you. It could take you a year. It could take you 2 years. It doesn't matter because every bit you read is going to be instructive. It's going to be illuminating. It's going to feel like you're living there. You're going to say, I know that person. I know what's going on there. That reflects what's going on in our world today. And this exactly describes the problem. There's nothing that I've ever seen outside the Bible that describes the problem and the solution. Now, the Bible describes the solution better, but Atlas Shrugged describes the problem that we're in better than any other book I've ever read, any 10 books put together that I've ever read. So one of the lessons in there is establishing not only leaving the system, reducing its influence on you, robbing it from your contribution, robbing it of your contributions to it. You don't want to contribute to a system uh, that is diametrically opposed to your core values and principles, and that's what we're talking about. Uh, the quality of life is what I was getting to. So by doing that, you increase your quality of life. Now, how you do that? You have to be independent. Okay. Now, Kelly and I were discussing this on the way out to lunch. We just ran out when I got back from the doctor. We ran out and had lunch, and I said it's not about self-sufficiency. It's about, and as she brought it up, it's a mutual sufficiency. We have been fortunate. God has directed and allowed us and blessed us in our businesses that we've been able to build while I was still in the system. That allows us financial independence and autonomy. We develop these businesses according to our core beliefs of doing a good job, providing a good service and a good product, a high quality service and product, that we are very selective about who we deal with. If I don't like the way that somebody handles their, if I just don't, if somebody's rude, if I don't want to deal with somebody, let me put it this way, I don't deal with them. I turn down business all the time. I've been very fortunate to be able to do that. But as a result, the quality of our business relationships is extremely high. I love dealing with the people we deal with, and they love dealing with us. Her business, now that goes for both of my businesses. My books, for instance, I write my books for a certain person. I don't try to make them, I've never cared about offending people. I write my beliefs in those books. Fortunately, many people out there agree with my feelings, and they have done extremely well. A lot of that because of the message, and I thank God for that as well. I know that it is blessing that caused so much of it. That even though they're available through Amazon, I know that's one of those things. More and more people, and this is an example of what I'm talking about, more and more people have started buying them directly from me. If you think you want to read my books and you want to buy them directly from me, autographed copies or not, doesn't matter, instead of paying into Amazon, there's a link right down there. Uh, and you're welcome. Just you can buy them directly from me. I thank you. I thank you for your business, and I hope you enjoy them. I hope you get something out of them. And yes, the fifth one's coming. For those of you who asked, I'm sorry, I'm running behind on that one. But this again is a quality relationship between me as an author, you as a reader, and a consumer, and I wanted to give you the best product I can. The same with our lighting business. The same is going on with the soap business that Kelly is developing, and her quality is so high. I mean, it's just it's really something. The product that she turns out. We do this in a way that we work with other people that we like, other people that we respect. Those relationships, the business relationships, often develop into friendships and social relationships. And we find people then who do things of their own businesses. And guess what? Then we start working together and we buy from each other, and we don't support the system that is driving these things that are hurting so many people today and is destroying our country. And so many people in our country is destroying families. That is the way that I would suggest for people who want to do it. Develop your own businesses. There's no reason that you have to stay with one. Okay, and too many people get locked into that. I'll use people limit themselves. I'll give you an example that my second son, I think when he was, oh gosh, what's it been since my first book came out, 4 or 5 years ago, I guess. And so that would have made him about 6. And I said, well, yeah, Brody, if I guess, and I was starting to explain him about economics using my books as an example. And I said, well, Brody, if I write a book a year, then that would make this amount of money, right? And he looked at me and he said, well, why don't you write 2 books a year? Out of the mouth of babes, right? He's exactly right. Don't limit yourself. Now, I'm falling behind. I think it's been a year since I put out number 4 and Appeal to Heaven and the Blessings of Freedom. Hopefully I'll get it out in a couple of months. It's just been kind of busy tying up all this stuff, getting ready to kind of move to the next level here. But that's good advice, and that's what I would advise anybody who's interested in separating yourself from the system. Start your own business, build your own business or businesses, hold to good quality, find other people who appreciate your quality, and there are. If you put out quality stuff, the world is going to be beating a path to your door. I guarantee it. I say this not to pat myself on the back, but I have to turn down business every year. Okay, people appreciate quality, and I don't overcharge for it. I charge what the job's worth, not what I think I can get out of somebody. So do an exceptional job, charge a fair price, and you're going to find yourself being successful. And then find other people who are doing the same thing and keep as much of your business within that circle. The more you do that, your circle will expand. You will by degrees of separation find other people in other areas. You need, for those of you who don't live in the country, I live in the suburbs, that don't raise your own beef or pork or whatever, or chicken, you're going to find people that do, and you can buy directly from them. You're going to buy people who make you'd be surprised what you can find. And as you start to withdraw yourself from the system and stop contributing to its success of oppressing you, you're going to find that the quality of your life and your peace of mind just explodes. I don't think I've looked forward to anything this much except for, my marriage and my kids. as I am right now, starting to go back into this, going Galt, removing myself to the greatest extent that I can from the system, and working within the system that's more natural to people. Uh, Relationships, honest value, things like that. Anyway, I suggest that watch those videos. Uh, Whether you watch them here, and like I said, love to have you over on Patreon. It's only $1 a month. It doesn't, it doesn't feed me, uh, but it's well going to be worth your dollar to join that community. And it's not just what I say; it's other things that I put up, and it's the comments by some very, very smart people who are creating a community over there. We'd love to have you as a part of that. And read those and read Atlas Shrugged. Take your time with it. Get into it. You'll find that it becomes a guide on for you, and it can become your world. Actually, for a while, a world that you will much prefer to the world that you're living in now, much as people say my books do. Uh, if you buy my books, I hope that you'll enjoy them, and feel free to buy them from me directly. If you want to, Amazon, I don't care. You'll get them a lot faster from Amazon. I sometimes I run out of them a lot of times, and then I have to wait for a new shipment to come in, and that takes some time. But if you'd rather have quality than or a relationship rather than just something fast, that's a way to do it. And then see how you can separate yourself and no longer be dependent on this system that doesn't care about you, that does its best to use you for its own purposes, many of which you fundamentally disagree with, and get out of it and start making contributions to yourself and your future and other people like you. So I think I'll leave it at that. I hope you all have a good day. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow, and there is nothing that prepares you well for tomorrow like being in control of your own income, your own subsistence. So I'll leave it at that. I hope you all have a good day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.